So good morning, everybody, for being here today. It is a pleasure for me to moderate this session that is devoted to the role of higher education in enhancing workforce development for enterprises. My name is Vito Borrelli. I work for the European Commission in Directorate General Education and Culture. I must say that it's the first time that my DG, my Director General, participates in this event, and for that I would like to thank Mariella and the DG GROW for inviting us to this event. We have accepted with great pleasure this invitation from DG GROW because we think that there is indeed a need to make the role of higher education more known, more visible, when it comes to the development of key skills that enterprises need, and to show also how companies can get actively engaged in training of students and lifelong learners. But before getting into the core of the matter, I would like to introduce the other panelists that will be with me in this session, namely Mrs. Mariella Masteling, who is Head of Unit in DG GROW, and who will present in particular the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneur initiative, and Mr. Gunnar Kasberg, who is the Deputy Director of the CEPT Competence Centers at the Leipzig University, who will present a good practice of academia enterprise cooperation under the Arcus European University Alliance. By the way, he should have been accompanied by another representative of the company within the consortium of Arcus. Unfortunately, he could not make it for health reasons. COVID is back again, unfortunately. But luckily, Gunnar is familiar with these initiatives, so he will also present the part that was supposed to be presented by other colleagues. But before then passing the floor to the other speakers, I would like to start by giving an overview of the multiple ways in which higher education plays a role, notably through its main flagship program, that is the Erasmus Plus program, in boosting employment and upskilling and reskilling people at any stage of their careers. So I will start with my PowerPoint presentation. I hope that it can be visible. It can be possible to show it on the screen. I don't think I have anything to do. It's simply...
No, indeed, it should come any second.
May I have the PowerPoint presentation? No?
Oh, maybe you just click?
Can we have the PowerPoint on screen?
We have uploaded it before. Normally it should be there to be shown. I will start without slides, but I hope that they will then appear at a later stage. Okay. As I said before, the purpose of this presentation is to show how the Commission, and in particular DG Education and Culture, is boosting employment through a number of initiatives. I would like to start by recalling that a lot of new labor opportunities have become available through the twin digital and green transition. This has been recalled in the plenary sessions before by many of the participants, and having relevant skills that empower people is fundamental to successfully navigate through labor market changes and to fully engage in society and democracy, ensuring that nobody is left behind. To make this possible, the Commission has been facilitating in the last few years new cooperation models between enterprises, higher education institutions, and lifelong learners and trainees to allow for the acquisitions of skills of highest demand. By the way, the Digital Economy and Society Index shows clearly that every third person who works in Europe lacks basic digital skills, just to give an example. But in addition to that, in 2021, it was shown through a specific study that there are 28 occupations ranging from construction and healthcare to engineering and to IT skills that had very serious shortages, which shows a growing demand for both high and low level skilled workers. So this is just to explain what is the role of Commission's initiative to try and make the request, the needs and the offer meet through a number of initiatives. The Erasmus Plus program in its 35 years of existence has always been supporting not only student mobility, which is of course the most traditional and the most well-known part of the Erasmus Plus program, but also the traineeships for students, and also for young graduates. Opportunities offered to students are to carry out internships and traineeships at all levels of study, at short cycle study, at bachelor, at master and doctoral level, in companies for periods of between 2 and 12 months. Traineeships can be hosted in any workplace, whether it is companies or SMEs and startups. For the time being, we have an average of 100,000 grants funded every year via Erasmus+. But of course, these are the opportunities for students. What does it imply in terms of benefits for companies? And I assume that in the public today, we have companies that have already been cooperating with academia or would like to do it. We think that a trainee can provide a new international perspective, can provide innovative ideas, can provide an active support to the enterprises where he or she can carry out his or her internships. I see that slides are there now, so I have arrived here more or less. The benefits for companies.
Just in time.
Just in time. As I said, benefits for companies are these possibilities to have a new international perspective, innovative ideas, and active support. And of course, a young and trainee can bring also enthusiasm, competitiveness, and innovation, as well as the possibility to open to new market opportunities and expand business. On top of it, we could also consider the possibility of enhanced competencies in terms of languages and IT skills. This slide is to show praiseful initiatives by the Erasmus Student Network. Erasmus Student Network is an association bringing together thousands of Erasmus Plus students and former students and Erasmus Plus alumni. And they have put together a number of platforms, of apps, to help match the opportunities for students and the needs of companies. One of them is the erasmusintern.org platform that in fact is co-funded by the European Commission and helps match traineeship offer with prospective Erasmus Plus trainees. So it is a really concrete instrument to link the needs and the opportunities offered by both sides. Other platforms that the Erasmus Student Network has created is the Erasmus Careers. That is a project that seeks to overhaul the way we look at competencies today in Erasmus Plus program, tackling the challenges faced by learners and the educational institutions and companies. we have the Erasmus Skills initiatives that aims at better understanding the skills students acquire during their mobilities, and the Erasmus Jobs that is not anymore for students, but in fact for job seekers and companies looking for Erasmus and international talent. So this is a very important slide in my view, because it has been proved that a lot of those 100,000 traineeships that we offer to students have been identified through the use of this platform. I would like now to move to another flagship initiative of the European Commission, that is the European Universities Initiative. Today we have with us Gunnar Kasberg, who will present then one concrete experience of one of these European University Alliances. There are currently 50 such alliances, gathering 430 universities and 1,700 associated partners, which include local authorities, NGOs, companies, of course, from all over Europe. And the purpose of these alliances is to develop a joint long-term strategy on education, skills, research, and innovation, creating transdisciplinary and transnational teams of students, researchers, and entrepreneurs. So, the European University Initiative gives, of course, benefits for companies, SMEs, and startups of joining a European University Alliances, because it offers access to international education, to research and innovation, being part of a rich innovation ecosystem. I have put for you a link to our website in the European Commission website, just to offer you more information about these initiatives. There is currently, there have been 3 calls for European University Initiative. The next one will be at the beginning of next year, so there is a possibility to be part of this joint initiative. And finally, this is another project that has been launched by the European Commission under the Erasmus Plus program. It is the Student Incubators initiative. This is mainly aimed at creating, at supporting collaborative ecosystems to provide for interdisciplinary environments in a university, setting close relationships with entrepreneurs and enterprises in order to help companies to find the right counterparts from the student side to develop new initiatives or innovative initiatives. As companies, you can be involved in 2 ways. One of them is to become part of a partnership to set up an incubator by reaching out to universities in your region. And the other one is to work with student entrepreneurs within an incubator which is being set up by a funded project. This runs very fast. Okay, sorry, I cannot control it. Okay, but in any case, this is an initiative that you can also participate in through 2 different key actions that are offered by the Erasmus Plus programs. One is the cooperation partnerships for higher education, and in this case, the relevant higher education specific priorities supporting innovation and entrepreneurial skills of students. And the second one is the alliances for innovation. There are calls ongoing on this, and there will be deadlines very soon at the beginning of next year. So I invite you herewith to, if you are interested in developing a closer cooperation with academia, to go through the information that are published online on our website. And of course, we are here at the end of this session to also have an exchange with you and possibly reply to your questions. That being said, I pass the floor to Mariella Masselink for the next presentation.
Very good. No, thanks so much. I will see if the slides come on screen. Do we have the slides ready for the next presentation? Otherwise, yeah, great, thanks so much. Indeed, no, I will build a little bit the bridge, I would say, because the program that I'm going to present to you can be, in a way, the next step in a lifetime of a person. It is the step towards building an enterprise, the step towards entrepreneurship. And the program that I'm going to present to you, it's called Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs. And it's indeed a great focus of the Commission and, of course, also especially of DG GROW, which I'm representing today, to foster entrepreneurship, because we see that as a key step to foster innovation, to foster job creation, productivity. And in this sense, the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs can, so to say, be the next step after the Erasmus that people might be doing during their university career. So maybe I go to the next slide. Yes, indeed. So to briefly explain you what the program is about. So much like Erasmus itself, which all of you know, it is an exchange program, but it is not an exchange for students, it is an exchange for young or aspiring entrepreneurs. And they have the possibility to go to a different member state and be there with an experienced entrepreneur and learn firsthand what it means to be an entrepreneur, develop their entrepreneurial and management skills in this process. Now, the duration of this program is typically between 1 and 6 months, but it can also be spread out over a longer period of time. We know, of course, that especially for entrepreneurs, making the time for a 6-month exchange is often not very easy. So you can basically do it in stages. You can go for 1 month, you take a break, you go for another month. It has to be concluded in 1 year, in 1 year's time overall. And this program is indeed financed partly through the commissions we provide for part of the travel cost, of the subsistence cost of these new entrepreneurs. Now let me tell you a little bit more about, there we are, yes. Let me tell you a little bit more about who can participate in this program. So indeed there are, we went a little bit too far, sorry. Yeah. There are indeed two sides, so to say. There are the new entrepreneurs. With that we mean either would-be entrepreneurs, so entrepreneurs that are still in the process of establishing themselves. Now to apply, they need to already present a credible business plan. And it can also be new entrepreneurs that have already established a business, but that are established for less than 3 years. On the side of the host entrepreneurs, we indeed looking for experienced companies who are in the market at least for 3 years or more. And also in terms of member states, in terms of countries that participate in the program, it is obviously all the EU member states are represented in the program, but you can also do the exchange with other third countries, for example, EFTA countries, accession countries, and we have launched quite recently a project to also foster exchange with third countries, so for example with the US, with Canada, Singapore, Taiwan and others. Now this slide is going to tell you a little bit about the benefits. Let me see. Sorry. Struggling with the remote. Yeah, there it comes. So indeed, we see the benefits twofold. So for the new entrepreneur, it is quite obvious. It is to learn about managerial skills, entrepreneurial skills, to have the hands-on experience, to work directly with an experienced entrepreneur, and of course to also gain potentially a new business partner, expand and build their network. We have also received very positive experience and feedback from the host entrepreneurs. So a lot of the host entrepreneurs are actually participating several times in receiving new entrepreneurs. And why do they do that? They explain to us that for them, welcoming a new entrepreneur in their business can be, so to say, a boost, an impetus for new ideas, for innovation, especially younger persons coming in, you know, bringing a perspective on digitalization, online sales that maybe the host has not yet considered. It is also a possibility, of course, to extend to another market. They are coming from a different member state, and they can also be, of course, a potential business partner. So it is also an opportunity for the host organization to establish themselves possibly on a new market. So we really have the experience that it is a win-win for both sides, so for the host and for the newly established entrepreneur. And indeed it is, as I said in the beginning, it is not an internship, it is really a peer-to-peer exchange on the same level. So I wanted to show you on the next slide, if I can get there, yes, the practicalities about how to apply. So essentially what is good to know is there is no deadline. You can apply anytime throughout the year. What the young entrepreneurs need is, of course, a CV, a credible business plan, a motivation why they want to do that, and they need to choose a local contact point, so the country in which they would like to do the exchange. I should maybe also mention that there is no age limit. So while we are calling it Erasmus for young entrepreneurs, it doesn't necessarily have to be a young person per se. You know, we have experience with newly established entrepreneurs from their early 20s to their 60s. So there is indeed no limit there, and it applies to all sectors. So there is really a wide room for participation. And we have indeed seen that, you know, from the beauty sector to high tech, we have seen participation all through various industrial ecosystems and sectors. So there we go. Yes, there you see a little bit how to apply. And then going to the next slide, indeed, I will tell you, so I have 2 slides just to give you a little bit of the idea what it has been delivering so far. And the next slide, I will give you some numbers. But just to say, indeed, we see it as a great opportunity for entrepreneurs, young becoming entrepreneurs, to develop their skill set through concrete hands-on experience, develop the entrepreneurial and management skills. We also believe that it is a great tool to reinforce single market connections, so to work across member states. And it can, as we said before, also for the host entrepreneur, be a boost of new ideas, of innovations. And thereby it can, you know, of course, help address, it can foster job creation, it can foster innovation, and also address youth unemployment. Now, in concrete numbers, we're celebrating next year actually the 15th anniversary of the I program. The I was born in 2009, and we have quite indeed high interest, high participation rates in this program. We have enabled 11,500 exchanges with over 23,000 entrepreneurs. And we have also the feedback that around 36.5% have, after this exchange, indeed successfully set up their company. Now, as I said in the beginning, the program is active in 45 countries across the world, the EU member states, but also third countries, as I mentioned before. And we are working on the ground with the so-called intermediary organizations, so that are a consortium of business organizations in the various member states that help us through the process, for example, by matching the companies that can usefully work together, by helping us in the practical implementation. And you also see here on the slides a little bit the top sectors that we've seen in the sense of participation. Those are the sectors that have invested and engaged most in the program. It is indeed in the area of advertising, media promotion, also education and training, unsurprisingly, architecture and construction, and IT. In terms of the average age, you see it here, but indeed be aware the young entrepreneurs can, so to say, are new entrepreneurs that can join this program at any time. And in terms of gender balance, I would say that for the new entrepreneurs, we already see that it's quite balanced, the interest both from men and women to participate in the program. It might not surprise you that on the host entrepreneur side, it is not yet so balanced. And last but not least, maybe a word on the participation of Ukraine, since it is also a strong focus point of our agenda of the EU Industry Days in general. It is indeed the case that Ukrainian entrepreneurs can and are actually strongly encouraged to participate in the program. We have active intermediate organizations in Ukraine already, but we're building that up. And we are applying a special flexibility to Ukraine. So for example, if an entrepreneur has fled the country and is residing in a member state, then they can do their exchange right there. So for example, a Ukrainian entrepreneur that is currently in Poland, for example, can do the exchange program in Poland, does not need to go yet to another member state, so to facilitate the exchange. And as a result of this increased focus and flexibility, we have also managed to get the numbers of Ukrainian participants up significantly. Last year, the numbers were higher than in the 5 years before, and we are injecting additional money and efforts in this particular field. This year, we're launching a new, so to say, renewed focus on Ukraine in October with 3 million in addition to foster trainings, to foster promotion, and to gain additional intermediate organizations that help us. So I would maybe just on the last slide show you the website where you can find additional information and also apply, and an email address in case you want to get any further insights about the program. But of course we're here today to also answer your questions and discuss if you wish.
Many thanks, Mariella, for this presentation, which very well complements the other presentation that was more focused on the higher education part, whereas here we have already young entrepreneurs. But just to also complete the first presentation, I would like to pass the floor now to Mr. Gunnar Kasberg, who will present perhaps a good practice of what's happening, a concrete example of what's happening under one of the European University Alliances, the Arcus one. Please, Gunnar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mariella. Thank you, Vito. There were a few things that I would like to build a few bridges on, partly also about the entrepreneurial mobility and what Vito mentioned about the EU initiative about European universities and incubators as well. So a few things I will mention as well. I'm representing today the Arcus Alliance, and I'm here from Leipzig University. What do I have to do to move? I'm representing University of Leipzig, and specifically the SEPT Competence Center. SEPT stands for Small Enterprise Promotion and Training. So you already see that there is SME development is in it, and one of our core pillars is to build university businesses linkages and try to foster, to bring together resources of the university for the use of enterprises. First of all, about Arcus Alliance. It's an alliance of 9 long-standing comprehensive research universities who share extensive research experience and a common profile as internationalized institutions. As Vito already mentioned, it's financed by Erasmus Plus within the EU initiative European Universities. And the mission of most of those alliances within this funding scheme is to transform European higher education in pursuit of sustainability and through close collaboration and progressive integration. And at Arcus, what we try to do is we try to achieve barrier-free cooperation through academic exchange, barrier-free virtual and real-time exchange. We try to create evidence-based institutional learning and through challenge-based and research-oriented academic education, be it curricular or non-curricular. But today I would like to take only a small fraction out of that huge alliance. As you can see, it's scattered all across Europe, with here, not far from here, Granada having the headquarters. But I only would like to present specifically one fraction, one work package called Linking the Local Ecosystem, or Linking the Local Entrepreneurial Ecosystem. And out of that, 3 approaches that I would like to address today that link local ecosystem with international partners to answer a number of challenges that specifically startups, entrepreneurs, or SMEs might face. Let me start with two rather simple and hands-on tools that basically every university could also try to implement to tackle challenges of early internationalization of startups. Connecting a bit with what Mariela said, like Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs also brings internationalization experience to younger entrepreneurs, to open markets, to create linkages to research, to other research in other universities, and maybe to build teams of international co-founders. And this is what our two tools here, the International Innovators Award, for example, does. Here we encourage founding teams or innovators in each university to present basically a very simple video pitch about their innovative idea, and an international audience from all participating 9 universities is voting on who has the most relevant innovation or the most relevant, let's say, approach to tackle maybe a societal or an environmental or maybe even a digital problem. And the awarding ceremony usually takes place in real time, so not a virtual presentation anymore as it was throughout COVID, but from 2022 it was in Lyon, and this year it was in Leipzig. And there we bring together our whole community of partly international, partly national entrepreneurs from the university context, and we basically celebrate those 9, in this case, international awards, and we crown the winner. And some second tool very closely related a bit to the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs program is that we encourage all teams or startups that are still within the business incubators of universities to visit participating incubators across Europe. So that exactly what also Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs is trying to do, that teams get first-hand experience and market insights from participating European locations. So early internationalization might be questions like how do I get, for example, funding from countries that are not, where I'm not eligible in my own home country? How do I build a proper research or research and development team on an international level? How can I create customer engagements in potential markets? And this all can be done when our, for example, from Leipzig teams visit Lyon or Maynooth, and then spend a few months, maybe even, in the incubators of the participating entrepreneurial ecosystem. But what can we do to go even beyond that? In our second tool, the Online Marketing Challenge, that takes a bit from the service learning approach, we would like to highlight a bit how we can include one resource of, like nowadays, international universities that I believe, or we believe, is highly underexplored, which is the international students at the locations that you already have, like in your universities. And our second tool, like the Online Marketing Challenge, does not send entrepreneurs or startups abroad. It uses international students at the location and matches them with SME or startups in your location or in our location. And we create a challenge where students in groups act as real online marketing managers for online marketing campaigns for companies. And in the best case, students work on marketing campaigns that are connected to their own home markets. So Spanish international students would run an online marketing campaign for a German company in Spain, or Vietnamese students do that for the Vietnamese market. So the rules are quite simple in this challenge. Companies invest €500. It's not much, but unfortunately we have to pay the online marketing players in this world, like Facebook, Google, Instagram. They don't do that for free. So the companies pay the online marketing campaign, and the students work in an extracurricular activity to tackle those challenges of the companies. This is all sidelined by a training program where we also try to go beyond just academic inputs. Of course, we give inputs on international marketing, on, I don't know, customer profiling, but we believe students need hands-on digital skills for digital marketing, so we bring in marketing experts that give, for example, sessions on search engine optimization, on social media marketing, on, I don't know, how to include TikTok profiles into company strategies, like the whole portfolio. And throughout this period of 3 months, the students develop not only on a strategic basics, they really implement an online marketing campaign for €500. In the end, the jury decides who made the best campaign, and then the winner receive an additional little prize. But I think this is not why the students participate. The students participate because they get in touch with companies that, of course, every international student in Germany knows about Volkswagen, BMW, the Porsche, but do they know small and medium-sized enterprises and startups? No, they don't. So, and this is exactly what we try to do, that smaller companies get to know the potential of international students and offer, okay, there is an opportunity also to find an employment on like the European level, and we can think outside of our box. So this tool specifically tackles, let's say, the online marketing skills, and our achievements right now. I mean, we started with like on a very small scale in 2017 already, but since 2019, I think we upscaled it a bit, and now we usually have 30 to 40 students every year, with around about 8 to 12 companies participating. And for now, we finished 41 online marketing campaigns, and always starts in summer semester. So if you want to know more, please approach me directly on this one. And the third tool that we developed is something very new, where we basically finished this year with the first pilot program. And you probably are aware that within many European countries, companies or firms have a lack of IT skilled personnel. So in Germany or the Northern European countries, the typical coders are very hard to find, and either way you have to pay like very high salaries, or it's very hard to engage them also already in the university to create projects with you. So what we do here is we developed a program where we combined the curriculum of a Vietnamese partner university. It's the university, that I don't get the name wrong, the Ho Chi Minh City University of Technology and Education. And we combine it with a Bachelor of ICT in University of Leipzig. And what we developed is an internship program combined, of course, with academic input. So the students come for a period of 6 months, and they visit 1 or 2 courses at Leipzig University, make their 10 to 15 credit points, but at the same time they go to an internship program of a company. But the company is financing this whole program. So we don't use, in this case, any type of funds, apart, of course, from our own, like some academics, some like scientific co-workers need to, of course, invest a little bit of time on it. And usually my colleague Michael from the company E-Werk would have presented his view and insight on this program. Oh no, wait, what? Yeah, sorry, I wasn't finished. Sorry. Can you give me the last slide of my own presentation? Because our idea now is, because this was just the first pilot, and we got positive feedback from the companies that participated, and okay, we both click, so it's unfortunately impossible. So the idea is to build on the existing experience and create a program for 2024, where we maybe move a step away from necessarily bringing students from Vietnam into an academic like curriculum background, because we feel that for the companies the most valuable assets would be students who are about to finish their bachelor or master program, and they probably don't need credit points anymore. So our approach would be, we rather develop a summer school concept where we tackle the challenges that in the next presentation will be addressed, that students apparently lack a bit of work-related skills, how to manage work, how to do task management, how to implement Scrum or Kanban techniques within group work, how to work in international teams, or even how to do innovation management, like an analyzed process of innovation management within a work environment. And these challenges shall be tackled in a summer school next year, and at the same time providing internship programs with companies. And if you are from the industry, probably a question that always will arise, okay, if I do that with international students and I don't know them and they are not yet in Germany or in whatever home country you're thinking about, how can I be sure that the students actually can live up to the task that I'm presenting? So our idea is to, before students start a challenge or start the internship program, we include a small challenge where each company gives out a challenge that can be solved in 2 or 3 weeks by groups of students, and we would make several groups of students compete for one internship position. So there's 3 internships and 3 groups of, each group consisting of 3 students is basically competing, and the group that presents the best solution for this challenge would then be selected by the company, and of course not only gains the summer school but also gets the contract, and students also don't have to pay for the trip costs, in this case from Vietnam. You can already see the pressure by the industry of finding good IT personnel is quite high, so there is usually not a problem to get that funding from the universities. Okay. Usually I would have handed over now to my colleague Michael, and now I don't know if you know the concept of the game of PowerPoint karaoke. Have you ever seen that sometimes? And this is what I'm playing now live for you. Is there's the presentation of my colleague Michael. I roughly know what he was about to say, but maybe I'm also surprised about a few points of critique that he will put in his slides, and me as a university partner now has to defend it probably. Maybe a short introduction about the company itself. E-Werk is an IT company that has been existing for roughly 25 years in Leipzig. It is a typical SME, but rather larger one. They have roughly 250 employees worldwide, around about 200, 220 are based in Leipzig. And of course, they are very much familiar with outsourcing processes and work a lot with the Vietnamese setting for now, or the Japanese setting. So there is a lot of experience, and this is why we basically kicked in open doors to test this program about bringing young IT talents from Vietnam to Germany. So of course, I'm not Michael, I'm not the newly appointed CTO he is. But next slide.
There's more.
No. Here. Here. Okay, I'm also struggling. So probably it's not you guys. It's all of us. Okay. I think I gave the introduction about E-Werk shortly. I'm not from the company, so it's limited what I can say about it. But they do IT stuff, and they solve problems of other companies. And what I've been told to tell you is that the skills issue is not necessarily the coding part. So when new IT talents start, it's everything that is within the working context. So there are a few hard skills that are missing, like quality assurance or requirement engineers. Maybe this is not, maybe that doesn't sound too sexy on the curriculum in academia, so people don't choose it. But in the end, this is something very specific that each and every IT or company that works in IT needs. So this is a skill that maybe should be implemented a bit more. Soft skills in specifically national, international teams, how to create, for example, how to break down work into work packages, how to make sure work is being delivered in a proper manner, how to know what quality is expected in work packages. I mean, maybe we all know when we started, like, I don't know, how many years ago in your first jobs, that was a little bit of a similar experience, but the feedback from the company is, isn't there something that we can do, specifically when we work with internship programs where time is very limited? So internship program ends after, what, maybe 6 months, maybe only 3 months, and if you spend the first 6 weeks on establishing communication and work management tools, you know, half of the time is over, and maybe the students can never really live up to their full potential. There is one thing that I also was supposed to mention, is that specifically international interns are often distracted by things they have to organize in their daily lives. So, you know, getting the rental of the apartment in order, having the health insurance properly for, I don't know, the German health system in our case. I don't know, finding, you know, places to go and what to do. In this case, we were in the lucky position that we had a postdoctoral co-worker from Vietnam who basically was the buddy for them for a period of 6 months. But I don't think this can be afforded in each international exchange. So I think the recommendation of Michael would have been, can we do something before the internship actually starts to keep away that type of distraction of the interns, that they don't arrive 2 weeks or like 2 days before the internship starts, and then they're basically somewhere else with their minds. Of course, availability of English language skills, I mean, we want that students have that, but probably we also have to start from the perspective of a European SME that are often only work in local language, and it's very hard for them to you know, suddenly change into you know, English language setting. So what helped this onboarding process, I mean, it is a very simple tool now. What Michael brought together is that this type of assessment of the participants before they actually travel, that we do this kind of a challenge process before, that they get a certain smaller tasks, that companies can see if the students could live up to the expectations in the host country, that there is like maybe 1 or more video call appointments where the HR managers can actually have a conversation with the interns, and that this is not only left to the university to select the interns coming, you know, when they do a joint program with academia, that it's not only left to the universities to pick the students, because in the end the companies have to work with the staff. Okay, on the slide there's something about this Kaiwa method, but this was developed by the owner. So if you want to know more about that, I think you have to read this the book that it mentioned below, and I'm not gaining any profit if you buy the book, but I can't really tell much about it. Okay, and I think this should have been the last slide. No, looking forward, right, because we also look forward to this 2024 program where we create this summer school concept, and we try to include the points of critique of EWERK into our summer school, developing a curriculum that maybe the students are at the university for 1 or 1.5 days per week, and the other 3.5 days they work at the company, and we take care of this you know, project management skills, Kanban, Scrum, innovation management, and at the same time the company deals with the actual on-hand project management and internship. Okay. So this is as far as I could do the PowerPoint karaoke from Michael. Okay, I hope it was okay and you could follow. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Gunnar, for your double presentation. I think your karaoke interpretation was very credible, so thanks for both. I think you brought in some concrete, tangible flavor to the more theoretical presentation from Marielle and myself. We have more or less 10 minutes left now for your questions, but also for our questions to you, if you allow us, because we would be interested to know if among yourselves there are any representatives from enterprises, from companies that have had any such experience of hosting some trainees through European Commissions or other schemes that might exist to facilitate these contacts. If you have any practice, any experience to report back to us, it would be the perfect moment to do it. But otherwise, please, if you have any questions, feel free to take the floor. So if you want to raise your hands, or please. I don't know if there is a micro around, but probably we can hear you anyway.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
coming.
no,
There is a
microphone is
micro
coming.
arriving, yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. So we had a similar experience. So we hired through a platform, the European Commission platform, for a position of project management, and we selected an applicant from Turkey. She's working with us, but we struggled in the beginning. Not struggled, but we also felt that it was too heavy for her to make the change. Not only because technically speaking, she was very competent. She is very competent, but the side things
Noise.
and distractions can be quite difficult to manage, because none of us has ever been in a position of being a foreigner in our country. So we know how things work from the perspective of living in the country as a national person, but for foreigners, how does it work with the foreigner office in terms of regulations and taxes and contracts? So it was a full new process that we had to dive into in order to support. So it's, I think, relevant if there's a program that supports this in the first place, not only for the company itself, but for the person that is taking the job outside of their countries.
Thank you very much. Can you perhaps just introduce yourself, just to know who you
So I'm Rita, I work for EWF. We are the European Federation for Welding, Joining and Cutting.
Okay.
We work quite closely with an SME. It's Fun3D. They do consultancy services for additive manufacturing. They were actually the ones facing this challenge, but as we cooperate so closely, we felt the pain that they were into. So an SME hiring someone from outside. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much for your testimony. I don't know if Mariella or Gunnar maybe want to bring some experience on how to solve these practical problems of hosting someone coming from a faraway country.
I mean, I could say a few things about that. I mean, our center is in the lucky position that we do have expertise as we run an international MBA. So we bring in European and mostly non-European students, so we know about the visa issues and the permits to stay. But I know that it hinders a company process a lot if you have to do that for the first time and you do that every 2 years and you have to repeat the process all the time. So I mean, mostly there are so-called welcome centers at larger cities that should be able to assist in this case. And if it was throughout the university context, I also believe that international offices should be well aware of what is needed for young people who are maybe finished their studies, or how to get a visa and how to arrange this first, getting on board, so this legal issues. The only thing is then, in your case, if you freely choose someone from outside, often there is no, why should a university engage? But if this was a program maybe where you, like within the, like for example, within the Arcos context, where European universities send maybe their graduates and you can choose from them, then something like that would be possible. And also universities would probably you know, have a reason why to engage into this scouting or screening process for companies.
Thank you, Gunnar. Indeed, I think the more you advance with this experience, the more experience you gain and can use it for the future exchanges. But of course, it's a question of time. Any other interventions?
Maybe, if I may, can I address the question to Gunnar, actually, since you know it was very interesting what you said about, of course, the interest of students, you know, to work for a big company, big industry, the well-known names. But you also stressed the point in, you know, the interlinkages with SMEs. And I was just also curious how you experienced that in practice. Like, do you find it more difficult to onboard SMEs, to get the programs known, to get them involved? Also, of course, certain capacity constraints from their side, just to maybe hear the practical perspective.
I personally don't find it that difficult, but of course the academics need to step a little bit outside of their research and teaching environment. We have the advantage that we run this entrepreneurial unit, so we work with startups and try to help them to make a proper business development, so we know networks. But I think it's more difficult for a very research-centered institute or for a professor that, you know, wants his publications and he wants his students to do well. But for those academics, it's probably more difficult to get in touch with companies. But I believe nowadays you basically kick in open doors if you say, I have students and I have skills, like potentially skilled personnel that would like to engage with the industry. And I think nowadays is a good time to build those networks, because companies need those people. Maybe 15 years ago it would have been more difficult, but I think nowadays it's a good time. Of course, but you need to invest a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And you have to like leave your desk for a while.
But in fact, I hope that with this session we have at least been able to reply to some questions that you had on how it works, at least through the European Commission programs, and to stimulate your curiosity, your interest, in case you have not yet done such experience. And now you have some tools that may allow you in the future to start developing this type of cooperation between enterprises and universities. I see there is not much time left, but of course, if there is any request for the floor, we would be very happy to stay 5 more minutes. Please.
The microphone, please.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so my name is Hannah. I work for Enterprise Europe Network in Denmark, and we have been working quite a lot with setting up some of the partnerships across countries in the EU who wants to apply for Erasmus Plus, and have also noted that in the current program there has been a very big increase in possibilities and also funding. But what we're actually looking at right now in the EU is that the majority of SMEs actually point towards lack of skills, lack of access to skilled personnel as the main hindrance to their growth. So what we are actually experiencing is that even though you have extra funding in this program, we are actually in a situation where our national NCPs right now have closed everything off because there's not any more money left. So I just want to emphasize that there is definitely a huge need in ISMEs for this type of program, and just ask the Commission whether this is something that you have considered for maybe the next MFF.
Thank you for the question. This is not an easy one. Of course, we are already starting reflecting on the future MFF, 2028-2035, where, of course, we will, as Commission, propose an increase that is proportional to the increase of the prices, to the inflation. But not only that, we would like to have at least a 3-time increase of the budget, because I mean, we are very well aware of all the needs that exist under the Erasmus Plus programs, and that applies of course to the traineeships needs, for which we have identified very ambitious objectives for the increase. I was saying before that now we are 100,000 traineeships grants per year, but we would like at least to double it. But of course we have to see what we can do with the budget available. So it is a discussion that of course we will promote with our the other institutions, the co-deciders, the parliament, that will certainly support us, we think, and the member states that are normally a bit less proactive in that sense. But we very much believe that by insisting and by showing what the impact of these type of activities are on the growth of the European Union, and we know that this year is the European Year of Skills, so there is a very strong overarching attention to this topic. We hope that we will receive appropriate feedback and response from the other institutions. Thank you very much for raising that. Please, Mariella,
indeed, since by coincidence the unit that I'm leading also coordinates and manages to work with the Enterprise Europe network, indeed the biggest network for SMEs. And maybe just to add, we are indeed taking this extremely seriously. We had just this week an exchange with members of the Enterprise Europe network, and I think the lack of skills, together with energy, inflation, access to finance, was mentioned as one of the key challenges for SMEs. So that remains high on the agenda. We have just recently presented the SME relief package, which has foreseen some concrete initiatives, for example, linked to the EU talent pool, for facilitating rules for access for third country nationals to accept qualifications, for example. But also within the Enterprise Europe network, we're working extremely actively on the skills part. So for example, we have set up an expert group in the Enterprise Europe network that works towards recommendations, especially on the skills sector, that we want to present in the context of the EN annual conference in November. So indeed, it's something that is really high on our radar, and also I think one of the key reasons why we put it so prominently on the agenda of the EU Industry Days, which also my unit is organizing, so that the topic of skills, it remains high on the agenda of SMEs and industry in general. Exactly.
Many thanks, Mariella. Any other requests for the floor? Any other testimonies or questions? If it's not the case, I see that we are almost at the end of our time. So thank you very much. We hope really that we have achieved our goal to raise your interest in these things, and that you also spread it in your in your environments. Thank you very much for your attention, and thanks in particular to Mariella and Gunnar for their presentations.
Thanks.
Have a good continuation of the European Union Industry Days. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.